Welcome, everyone. Good night, good night, good night. What day is this? Happy Tuesday. The holiday with MLK threw me off a little bit, but happy Tuesday to everyone. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday night with family, that you're unwinding after work. I am Tiffany, your host. I'm Tiffany F. Young, your video content strategist, your web series show producer, and your virtual and hybrid event producer as well. So tonight, I really am excited. This is a dear friend and a sister of mine. This is going to be fun for me. To interview the one and only, the beautiful Amara Charles. So, without further ado, I would like to get into her bio now so we can get to the good stuff, her interview. So just to tell you a little bit about Amara, her name, Amara is a native New Yorker, to New York, because I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York myself, who has relocated to Northern Virginia, where she has lived for the past 4 years. She currently serves as the marketing and outreach manager, responsible for the marketing and outreach efforts of various government contracts for NIC Federal LLC. She also owns and operates her own small business, Graceful Lashes and Beauty LLC, specializing in empowering women and accentuating their natural beauty. Ms. Charles began her career as an account manager, supervising and facilitating a portfolio of top agency and direct clients, y'all, helping her team achieve the President's Club Award. Her professional experience has focused on workforce and leadership development through education and training, as well as implementing best practices and preventive measures to improve operations in healthcare industry. Prior to beginning her role with NIC Federal, Ms. Charles served as a program analyst and consultant to the United States Marine Corps Training and Education Command. Her efforts focused on assessing performance data and analyzing the effectiveness and efficiencies of learning strategies. Ms. Charles holds a BS in accounting and business administration from Houghton College, where she presently serves, on the alumni board, and an MBA in organizational leadership from Regent University. She attends Grace Church in Dumfries, Virginia, and enjoys spending time with her puppy, her awesome puppy, Suede. So without further ado, everyone, welcome Amara Charles.
That's amazing. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you.
Yes. Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing good. So let's get into this interview. So we won't keep you long. So the first thing I always like to ask my guests: how would you describe the woman in the CEO?
The woman. I'm sorry. How would I
describe the woman in the CEO?
Me. How would I describe myself? Oh, wow. I would say that I am a lover of God. I love God with my whole heart. I have experienced Him for myself through my situations, through my life. And through that, I have been able to view the beauty of woman in a different perspective. So all that said, I would say for myself that how should I say? I don't see myself as a boss owning a company or just even through my title. I really just view it as an opportunity to serve women, to love God, really just through that avenue of being able to help a woman feel so good about herself. And even through the conversation about God, again, once it becomes personal to you, it just takes over your entire life, So really and truly, all that I am is a servant of God in every single avenue that He's allowed me to be placed within. And even through, despite the title of I'm grateful for being a marketing manager. I'm grateful for having a business. But more than anything, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to serve God and to make people feel good through just a little that I can do. So I hope that answers the question.
I wanted you to also describe yourself as the CEO. I don't know if you have your phone next to your laptop with the speakers. Maybe you need your headset into your phone. It's picking up some kind of background reception.
On my side? Okay, hold on.
Yeah. Or you can use your headset too if you want. With the speaker. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me just move my phone. 1 second. Okay. Move my phone, and then okay. All right, 1 second. Okay, I just shifted my phone. Is this better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me. I don't know. We weren't having this issue before. We were fine.
Yeah, it's still like having an echo. Now I don't know why. I don't know
I don't
what's
know
going.
either. I hear it when you talk too.
Yeah, I don't know, but we're
Okay.
fine. We'll go forward. So I
Okay.
wanted to also describe Amara, the CEO.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's hard. What do I say? So running my own small business, I mean, really and truly, I do it all. I am operations, meaning I have conversation with my clients. I am customer service. I am constantly interacting with my clients on a day-to-day basis, not just asking how their lashes are doing, but my clients and I have real conversation. Like I hear about every promotion. I hear about 6 pounds lost. I hear about a new house being built. I hear about a new baby being born. I hear about people don't invite me to parties anymore. What's wrong with me? I hear a lot. It's a real personal conversation that I'm having with my clients. So customer service, I would say, yeah, just that one-to-one conversation with clients. Operations, meaning I am in charge of ordering products, making sure things are like on time. I got to manage my time with clients, especially because I've become, despite COVID, become very busy. And so just making sure that client time is respected. I have an accountant, but having an accountant also means that I have to make sure my books are managed. So making sure I'm not overpaying for things, making sure I get him his reports on time. So he, just so we can keep books in order. And then even thinking ahead, what's the vision for the business? Right now, I'm in the process of working on a website. I also have a woman's empowerment brand that I'm trying to LLC, but then also trying to figure out the vision for what that is and how I can implement that, how I can make the two work together. I also wanted to do some more community service. A big part of the profits that I make, I do give back to my community. And actually, I've been able to interact with a lot of different women who have seen the highest of highs and seen the lowest of lows. And so a part of the business that we don't advertise is the fact that I partner with women. And if you are in need, I give. And it's not something we talk about, but my accountant is just like, hey, where are these funds going to? I know someone who's in need, and if I can, I will always help. So it's interesting that you asked the question because I don't necessarily think of myself as CEO. Again, because I know a lot of people who operate based on title. And I think sometimes title means we get lazy and we don't do the work. Whereas I've had the opportunity of doing every single aspect of it and I love it. And I'm at the stage now where I would like to hire, I would love to have an understudy, someone who can help out in different ways and learn and, do what I do, but then also go out, be great. But just to answer the question, I guess it's not really about the title. It's really about how I can be a great asset in every single aspect of the business, so that I can really do what it's meant to do, empower women, but then also not just bless them with lashes, but really bless them in life, no matter how that looks. If it's financially, if it's just a word of encouragement, if it's a prayer, if it's a cry after a lash appointment, if it's opening the door at 10 o'clock at night because you don't have a place to stay. I've seen it all. And I'm blessed to be able to operate in all those capacities as CEO.
Awesome answer. Oh my goodness. I feel you. It's like that is so true. A lot of people get caught up in the title and not the actual work I'm meant to give back and what it really means to be able to be in that position. It's a humbling thing as well as, of course, it's great admiration and it's an achievement, but it's the day in, day out and the heart behind being the
Oh
CEO.
yeah.
You have to have, for me, the CEO of CEOs should really be compassion. And there's many CEOs that don't have compassion. So it's very interesting to me, like, how are they running their business? But that's just, my opinion on that. So hop into the next one. How did you prepare for your role, in marketing and outreach manager?
That's interesting that you asked that. I say that because I remember when I graduated with my MBA, I felt like I was working with a bigger company at the time, and I felt as though I deserved to be project manager. I actually remember working alongside some team members, and they were all project managers, and they had acquired the MBA like a few months before I did. And I had this attitude that I felt like I deserved it, like I earned it, and I remember having the humbling experience of literally having to leave my job in New York and move to Virginia. And the first job that I can get, I was working part-time and I was making $7.25, an hour. Having an MBA, like literally just graduating with my MBA, feeling as though like I deserve to be a manager, and then moving and first job I can find part-time, barely working like any hours and making $7.25 an hour. Talk about humbling. And then having to start all over again, in a sense that I wouldn't say build a name for myself, but it was as if God was allowing me to be humbled because he was like, you're not ready yet. You feel as though you deserve something. So all that said, I was able to acquire the job that I have because through working at that small company part-time, making $7.25 an hour, I was introduced to government contracts, which is how I started working for the Marine Corps. And the woman that hired me, I remember she and I worked together. She was the contract manager. And we worked together for 2 years. And I remember going out to lunch with her and I was like, I'm so grateful as a government contractor because if anyone knows working for the government, as a contractor, they can let you go at any time. If they see that there's no need for your job, they literally can say, here, we no longer need your services. So at any moment in time, you can lose your job. And I actually watched 2 of my colleagues, our first year in that contract, let go and not even realize they were going to be let go. And then on top of that, it's like they had more experience than I did. They had families, like kids. I mean, they literally had the whole shebang. And I'm like, God, so humbling. How is it that you've allowed me to stay? So anyway, fast forward 2 years on the same contract. And I remember sitting down with her and I'm like, hey, I'd like more responsibilities. I'm young, I'm teachable, and she said, okay, take a note of that. Probably like 10 months later, it was that she was like, I'm leaving the company. I've got a new position. I was like, oh my gosh, you forgot about me. I was taking it a little selfishly and a little personally because I thought she was so well connected and she knew the government, she knew the industry so well. And lo and behold, talk about humbling. I remember her reaching out to me. She's like, hey, I have this opportunity. What do you think? And, I said, sure, we can talk about it. I showed some interest. After I showed some interest, she shared that, this opportunity, you're going to be working directly for me. All she needed to see was that I had an interest in it. She didn't let me know like you had it in. She did not say any of that to me. I showed an interest and she said, sure. And then after that, as I was preparing for the interview, I remember her sending me a quick text message. And she's just like, hey, when you come in for this position, talk about it from a management perspective because I've now changed the title. And I said, are you sure that I'm still fitting for it? She said, yeah. I thought of you, change the title. Just talk to it from a management perspective. And I'm like, okay. I remember crying my entire way to the interview because I'm like, Lord, I don't know if this is going to be it. Is this the direction that you want me to go in? I remember sitting down with her for the interview. We talked for 10 minutes and we were just talking about contract. We were just talking about life. And she said, okay, our interview is done now. And here's my manager. And her manager is the general manager. So her manager is the boss. That reports to the boss. So I remember sitting down with her and she's just like, so I've heard a lot of great things about you. Just tell me, and I mentioned Graceful Ashes. I said, I just want you to know that I have a small business. That's my baby. It is not something I'm willing to let go. I'm very excited about this position, but it has to work with something that I've built on my own. If you're okay with this, then I would love the opportunity to work here. And lo and behold, a few days after, I remember that Friday afternoon, I went into work with the Marine Corps and the colonel was just like, if you don't like this job, then you need to leave. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me. I literally thought this man was talking to me. And I cried on my way home again because I'm like, Lord, I feel like I'm not in the right place. I don't have an opportunity because I haven't heard from her. So I was like, maybe they gave it to someone else who had more, sometimes these are how things work. And she called me after I was sitting at home, I was sitting on the couch, and she called me and she's like, I just want you to know that you've gotten the job. And I mean, Tiffany, when I tell you, and she said, I also want you to know that you didn't ask for this salary wise, you didn't ask for any of this, but she said, you deserve that. And literally, when I tell you, I had a number in my head and I was like, God, because I was so humbled by her even reaching out to me that I said some stupid number. And I'm like, wait, why did you even say that? And literally it was as if God was just like, I am preparing a place for you. And when I tell you that every single time I think of it, I don't think of myself as manager in a sense that I get to boss anybody around. I'm so humbled by it, so humbled by the opportunity to serve. And I say as much as I can. And I tell her all the time, I was like, dude, you saw me when it felt like no one could see. And it was literally as if God had covered me because he's like, you were not ready for that. Through your business, through the humility of working with people and doing everything. You weren't ready for that quite yet. But now that you have it, you're so humbled by it that you approach it with a different level of respect and love and compassion. And so every time her and I talk, I remember my performance review that we had a couple of weeks ago. And I'll end on that performance review that we had a couple of weeks ago. And she said to me, she said, I want to say that every situation that you find yourself in, especially with COVID, because our jobs are primarily, we go out there and we do a lot of travel. We haven't done it, like travel has completely stopped. So we've had to maneuver this job very differently than the way that it's ever been done before. And we have a lot of conversations with senior leadership. And she's like, I just want you to know that in everything that you do, you have remained so graceful. She doesn't know that my name means God's grace. She doesn't know that my name, like my business name is Graceful Lashes. But it was literally as if God had put a stamp of approval to say, it's not you, it's all me. You just show up and allow me to work. And that literally was that moment where it was like, wow, this is so much bigger than me. This is literally like, God is just like, I put you there for a reason. And it's not you that shows up. It's literally me and my grace. And all that to say, that is how I became. That's how I prepared. I did it. God prepared me for it. And even now that I'm here, he reminds me that it's not about me. It's all about him. I just show up and I just have to smile and do the job and do it to the best of my ability.
Awesome. You almost made me run through the floor, through the seat. Like, oh, you're taking me somewhere else. But I'm trying to get my Oprah on, and you got Oh my goodness, I love that. That is an awesome truth about God's grace for us and how he positions us, and it's always in his perfect timing, and the humility behind waiting in him and trusting him even when it doesn't make sense, and we feel like, okay, God, are you hearing me? I like, this is the position that I want, or this is the numbers. And sometimes you're just like, I got you, really trusting him. So I so thank you for that testimony and that story. That I'm sure it's inspiring many of those that are tuning in. Oh, I just want to take a quick second to say hi to my family that's online. Hi, Sis Bree. Hi, Mama. Dr. Serafina. Hi, Matthew. Matthew, Donica. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the love and the support. So let's go back into this. When did you know you were ready for entrepreneurship?
Oh, my government contract. Okay, so that brings me back to my government contract. So once I acquired my job with the Marine Corps, because again, it's like with the contracts, you can have primes and subprimes. So basically companies bid on the work. And at the time I was working for the subprime, and coming from New York, girl, you don't get paid once a month. You get paid, it's like bi-weekly, semi-monthly. Of course, my paperwork said semi-monthly, and then they decided to change it to monthly because it was more cost effective for them as a small company. And I'm like, wait, me only getting paid once a month, the way these bills rotate, that's not gonna work. And so I literally sat down, I was like, God, give me a strategy. What do I do? I'm in Virginia. I'm in a state where I don't have family. I don't have friends. It's me and you, God. Give me a strategy. Show me what to do. And I have a cosmetology license, and I sat on my license for years. I do not necessarily do it here. I know how to do it. It's not my love, my passion. I have friends who are amazing at it. It wasn't my space. And so the thought, I prayed, and God was like, what's that thing that you love? Lashes. And it's funny because when I moved to Virginia, I had no money. When I say no money, it's like those bills aren't rotate, so the money goes towards your bills. And Virginia is way more expensive when it comes down to self-care, like nails, hair. Girl, the money that I pay for my nails, hair in comparison to New York, very different. And so I had to sacrifice. The first time we went home for Christmas, my nails were not done. My mother looks at me, she's like, oh my gosh, child, do you need some money to do your nails? And I'm like, Mom, leave me alone. But all that said, it was my job. They literally were like, we're going to pay you once a month. And I prayed, and God was like, you know how to do something. You can do lashes. And I can do my own lashes. So it was the only thing throughout, no self-care, no hair. I had to tie up my hair. I had a wig for a while. If you know me, I don't wear, I got the shaved sides. That was the whole thing. I couldn't find a barber. But God was like, you know how to do one thing for yourself. And I marketed my business through myself. I remember when I started. So I already have my cosmetology license. I went out, got a certification for just to do lashes, primarily because in Cosmo School, you learn about hair, nails, you learn everything. But I wanted to be able to do more with lashes. So I did my training, and I marketed myself. Literally, I became my brand. I didn't have friends down here. So I would do my own lashes before lashes, after lashes. And that was how I built it. The first time I started, the first month, I had one client. I was so dependent on her coming like every 2 or 3 weeks, because with lash extensions, you have to come every 2 to 3 weeks. Started with one client, and I would advertise on Facebook, Instagram. Then when I went home to New York, I was like, friends, please let me lash you so that I can, build up my business. I was able to lash 2 clients down there. And then that's what I was using to market myself. And literally, I have watched God like turn that all the way around to the point where I was sitting down with my last check last week, and she's like, "You haven't been active on social media." It's interesting when people notice that you haven't been active on social media, right? Because you never know who's watching. And I was like, "No, I'm taking it fast." She was like, "But you run a business." I said, "But I don't have to advertise. Like, honestly, people just come to me through referrals, and I'm pretty booked out until like the end of February." She's like, "What?" And I was like, "I know. Look at God." Because I remember when I started, it was me, myself, and I. And then the one client, and that one client is still with me. She actually has an appointment tomorrow at 5:00 because she's been, my good old faithful. But that's how I branched out into entrepreneurship. It was more of a need, and the need was supplied just through something I loved. And then it was the heart. And I tell people all the time, because I do trainings now, it's not the idea of making money, because there's so many people who do what we do. It's the heart behind what you do. And for each of my clients, and I'll tell you, I had a client, just a short story, for Christmas. She walked in with this big old bag, and, she's like, "I have this for you." And I was like, "Why do you have a gift for me? I give you lashes, and she's just like, "No." And it was the most beautiful blanket ever. So I open it, and I'm just like, I'm looking at it, and I mean, it was beautiful, beautiful. And she said, "I just want you to know that every single time you service me, you make me feel so loved." She's like, "So the softness of the blanket is to show you that you make me feel so loved." And it's a leopard print, sort of like my sweater. She said, "And you also make me feel beautiful." She said, "There's so many times I come in here and I feel so low because life is heavy. But," she said, "through our conversations, you make me feel like I'm it. Like it's just me and I can do anything." And I just stood there and I was like, I'm not going to cry. So I'm saying it in my mind, not even realizing I'm saying it out loud. And I'm just like, whoa. And she's like, "I just want you to know that it's not," she said, "you're so much more than this, but it's just the experience with you." And as I tell my clients, as I tell my students, and even as I talk to my friends, because now when you're an entrepreneur, you tend to have entrepreneur friends. It's not about the money that we make. It's not about the exchange of a service. It's all about the heart behind the matter, and your clients, they see your heart. They see your good days and they see your bad days. My clients can look at me and be like, "Girl, you're having a day." And I'm like, "I am." And if I'm quiet, if we're playing gospel music, sometimes I cry behind the scenes. Their eyes are closed. I'm crying and they're crying. We have a whole moment. We have an exchange. But I think what has kept it sustainable is the heart. I won't cheat you. I'm literally just like, God brought you to me. I will love on you for as long as you allow. And I'm so grateful that my clients can see that. So to answer your question, long story short, it was a need based off of what was going on around me, but I've remained sustainable in a state where I knew nobody, where I did not have any market. I had no friends, because it was all about God, like doing God's business and doing it the right way and being upfront, honest, but allowing his love and his grace to shine through. No matter, because I have clients who are Buddhists, I have clients who are atheists, and you can still have a conversation about God without offending them. Learning how to do that, learning how to not dim your light because you're afraid that it may shine too brightly on those who don't believe. So learning how to navigate through that. All God, all his grace.
You are dropping so many gems tonight. I hope people are really listening and taking it all in. We so thank you for your transparency and keeping it real, and just being open and sharing. Because the reason when you asked me backstage, why did you start this show? Like I said, God gave it to me, and then the other reason, a part of that was because I wanted to be transparent. There's so many things online. There is so many things online right now, so much content, especially since COVID. But a lot of it is not transparent. You have all these big brands online, whether they're on Instagram or Facebook or wherever they are located in the online space, but they're not sharing their real stories about the transparency and in the sense of, okay, yes, you have your successful stories and your big wins, and they're in the hot spots, they're doing all these travels at these different resorts and the fancy cars and throwing up the money and all these things and the big parties, but no one's talking about the failures that they experienced or the humbling beginnings that they had before they got to the success. So this was one of the main reasons why God allowed me to have this show, is because I really wanted to have those transparent, informal conversations. I really wanted to bring people on that, I could really connect with, and that will keep it real and that will be transparent and want to see other people win. I mean, we have to come out of that place of, everyone is jealous of one another.
Yeah.
Everyone sees,
in the bucket.
competition. So for me, you know, I have a very collaborative partnership type mindset. I don't see you, you know what I'm saying? If I was in your industry, I wouldn't see you as a competition. I would say, okay, how can we connect? How can we bring our, you know, our brands, our target audiences together to make one, to help more people, and eventually, of course, once you're servicing people from your heart and you're being real, and you're not focused about the dollar, the money's gonna come. Like I always tell people, the profit is gonna come. It's about the people. What are you doing to service the people? It's not about the sale, it's about the service. So that is, you know, I'm just so excited with your interview tonight. I knew it was gonna be awesome. From a little years back. Okay, so I'm excited. So I just want to get into the next one. To keep it light and simple, what is your daily or weekly self-care routine? Like, what do you do to maintain yourself, especially now with COVID?
I work out. I bought a Peloton. So I'll be honest, like I had a gym membership, and working out for me is I told you I've never worked this hard in my entire life. I'll be so honest. I realized that it wasn't a COVID thing, but because of the nature of how I was moving, it's like when you're constantly giving of yourself. I'm an introvert by nature, and Tiffany and I were talking about that before everyone tuned in. But by nature, I'm an introvert. So having conversation all the time, and the nature of my job, I do a lot of presentations, I do a lot of meetings, I'm constantly in meetings. It's like, oh gosh, I just need a minute to myself. And then with clients, they want to talk. So sometimes they come in and I'm like, oh, I just need a minute to myself. So in the morning, I would find that I would wake up and I would feel anxious. And part of my routine has been I wake up at either 4 or 4:30 in the morning, and I have an entire hour with God. My phone is on do not disturb. I do not allow, like literally, like I could see the emails come in. My boss works later hours than I do. So 12 o'clock, sometimes I'm getting emails, and I make it a habit not to look at my email. I can see the phone, but the beautiful bedtime reminder actually has your phone on a function where you can't even see a message that comes through because it's on the bedtime thing. So it's wonderful. And I spend my hour with God, and then I work out. My Peloton has been a saving grace, primarily because the anxious thoughts come. Just trying to figure out, Lord, how am I going to manage? How am I going to manage my clients? How am I going to manage my job? Every single day of my job is different. We have been doing things that we've never done before. COVID means that you have to show your clients, government clients, that work is still being done, that you're still showing up for them, that you are still promoting their brand, their business. And then on top of that, I still have my own business that I run. And as I said, I do everything. So besides the accountant, God, I have an accountant, but like literally it's a lot that's being pulled. So that hour with God literally is my way of saying, God, like, yo, take the entire day. I'm a type A personality. I write down everything. Like every hour is like documented and jotted because it helps me manage my time. It helps me feel like I've got something done. But just whether or not it's like 20 minutes, there's some workouts out of 10 minutes. There's some, even if I've missed the alarm and I wake late, it's like, Amara, you can do this on the Peloton, and I'll do it. And then there's some days, like even on a Sunday, I'll spend 30, 45 minutes on the Peloton. And sometimes I cry my way through it. Sometimes I'm like, I'm tired. Father, like my body, I ache. And it literally is that thing that it's as if God is having a conversation with me. He's just like, yo, just keep going. Just keep pedaling. Just keep going. And that has been my saving grace. It's as if like that one-to-one, it's in an order. It's like if the order is sort of broken, it feels like something is off, but really and truly it's been down to, instead of stuffing myself with food, because I love Oreos, I've had to turn away some things. Like, girl, I love Oreos. I found a good Chinese place down here. So they made the bomb, chicken wings and French fries with the hot sauce, barbecue sauce and ketchup, like New York style, girl, and I've had to shut some of that down. I've had to say, Amara, no Oreos. No, fried chicken, every now and then we can have it, but just making sure that I'm taking care of the spiritual and the physical. And when I do that, I feel so much better about my day. Even if I'm tired throughout, I can take a 10-minute nap. And it's crazy when you dedicate that time, God is just like, I got you. Like the time, like literally things that I was supposed to do, my boss is like, don't worry about that. And I'm like, yes, thank you, God. God is like, you take care of me and I will take care of you. So that has been my saving grace, my Jesus time and my Peloton.
I know that's right. I hear you on that one. It's so important, to take care of yourself, not only physically, but spiritually. And a lot of people I find are doing that more. And not only that, but even spending quality time with your family, and even setting boundaries, even with family, because with COVID, everyone's working from home now.
Oh, yes.
It's very difficult for, the spouse is at home now and the children and all this stuff happening. So, even you have to find ways to, if you have communication issues within your home, this is the time where you don't have to clear that up, because
exactly.
so you're not being offensive. Everybody's on the same page, and we respect each other's spaces and things like that. So we all can get our work done, because we're all under the same roof now. Like, there's no choice, right?
Exactly.
So I totally feel you on that one. So what inspires your love for fashion? Do you provide makeup and styling services, or do you plan on doing that in the future? Because you're doing lashes, and I've always told you, you are a fashion influencer. You need to be doing styling. You need to be doing the whole shebang. So I'll let you take over from there.
Okay, so I'll answer the first question. The inspiration. The inspiration came from being a child and feeling as though I was always the ugly duckling. So So believe it or not, when I was in school, I went to school. We all elementary school, middle school, high school, same group of kids. And in Long Island, you stick in districts. So you tend to build your friend groups, and everyone tends to stick to each other. And a lot of people knew I was the pastor's daughter, so I wasn't invited to a lot of parties. And then even at church, I was always sort of like the oddball out. Like, I would get in trouble for running around with the other kids. And it was one of those things. I remember my dad had this whole policy, because I really wanted the Jordans and stuff. My dad is just like, I'm not spending $100 on sneakers. No. So I was allowed one fancy pair of sneakers a year. You understand how traumatizing that is for a child, like just wanting to fit in. And the reality of it is, I never really fit in. The kids in school, they made fun because I had a Jerry curl at one time. Thank you, Mom, for the Jerry curl. It made me stand out, and they made fun of me, but I had the Jerry curl. So they called me Ma, meaning like I was always the mom. And then I think by nature too, I've always had this mothering personality. So they'd be like, yo, Ma, but Ma was never invited to the parties. And then in church, because a lot of my friends, our church is in Brooklyn, a lot of my friends lived in Brooklyn, I wasn't really able to spend time with them either. So what I would do is I would spend a lot of time in the library, and I've always been in the library reading books, and I would look at magazines. And I always had this thing, which is why I heavily believe in affirmations. I would look at the magazines. I'd look at a lot of fashion. I'd look at the runways. I love runway couture. And even when I was doing in cosmetology school, a lot of the hairstyles and stuff was always like runway couture. Like, it was just the big, and it was just always something different. And I would always say, like, I may not be able to have that now, but one day I will be that. I will be this woman that other people marvel at. And I come from a modest family. My father is very adamant about, you don't have to show your skin. You don't have to be naked. You don't have to show your boobs in order for people to respect you. And that was it. It was a respect factor. So he would sit down with me when I was a child, and he'd make me watch news. And he said, look at how they speak, look at how they dress. And my mom was always, so he was very much into, you have to speak very well. You have to, present yourself well. And my mom was always like, you can fake it till you make it, meaning you don't have to have a lot of money in the bank. You literally can take the little that you have, you add some accessories, because she's very big into the accessorizing. She's also a platinum blonde right now. So my mom is she's always been, she's very, she has no care in the world for what people think. And that's that part. It's like that fine line between me where I can do corporate, but I can also have a mohawk. And it all started from this place in which I never fit in. People made fun of me, and it was just this way of me feeling good about myself. And ever since then, I've learned that less is more. I can accessorize, and I can do the little or I can do the big, but it all comes down to how it makes me feel. So I hope that answers one question. It all started from this place of not fitting in, and then getting to the space of, I don't really care to fit in. As long as I speak well, and as long as I represent myself and God well, I'm good. And then the other side of it, to answer your question about fashion and styling and makeup, I love makeup, I love fashion, I love styling. And I do give some tidbits. I actually have had some friends say, Amara, and I'm like, yes, I'm here to help. I do it more so if I'm asked, I'm always more than happy and willing to help. And it's interesting because I had a friend share with me while we were in college. She's like, whenever people speak of you, they speak of how good you look or how well you dress. They never talk about how intelligent you are. And it's always something that stuck with me, because I always said, I want to be a model. I want to do this. I want to do that. But after he said that, I said, wow, it's interesting, because people will sometimes box you in, and they will deal with you on that level in which is most comfortable for them. And so all that to say, I have steered a little away from, I love fashion, but my prayer has always been, God, allow them to hear me first, then see me. primarily because I don't want to just be known for what I look like or how well I dress. I want to be known for how well I speak of you and your goodness and your grace and your glory. I want all of me to be seen and felt when I step into a room, not just be minimized to what I look like. And so over time, I've learned how to show up in different spaces in different ways. But all that said, I love the fashion. I love all that. And I give the tidbits regarding that. And I'm happy to always help. But I've steered away a little bit from that in certain regards because I've learned that, unfortunately, we are in a society where people put you in that box. And because if you look too pretty or if you got a shaved side like I do, they will say, she's not quite yet, and I don't want that to ever be the thing that stops me. So God is my witness. I've tried to be well-rounded in that regard. And I encourage women to do the same. It's like you find that thing that makes you feel good and hold on to that, but always make sure that you are showing up in all the other ways too, because you never want to give someone the opportunity to box you in. And that's why I have not put that much of a focus in ways that I could have, because I've recognized that people will box you in. And I want it to be so much more than what it is I look like. So I hope that answers the question.
Wait, let me. Yes, absolutely. It answered the question. I totally get what you're saying. A woman often is told to, go in the back, not speak,
Yep.
especially from, in ministry and stuff like that. Yep. So, and we're of a different generation. We're bolder. We come out with more fire. We know what we want, and we come and busting through the doors.
Oh yes, so, here I am.
A woman has, the first thing, especially in a man's world, a woman's first thing that people speak of is her beauty and her aesthetics and how she carries herself. So I absolutely agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. I still think that it could be a part of your business, though, the makeup and all that stuff. But I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't ever want to be boxed in. I want to be, thought of, my work. And this is why, too, when people ask me, why have you hide behind your work and your clients for so long? I said, that is the reason why, because my prayer has always been, and it still is now, I want my work to speak for me. I don't want to be out there like that. I'm like, how is it that no one ever questions Warren Buffett or Bill Gates and all these people for not being out there like that? But because I'm a woman, and on top of that, a woman of color, I'm supposed to be loud and out there and, showing everybody my every move. And I don't have to do all of that, the Oprah has done it nicely. Oprah only comes out when she needs to. Right. But so that's always been my secret prayer, that I will be, like, okay, give me what I want to do for God's people, what Warren Buffett is doing, out there in the world and all his stocks and this and that. I want to be like, a combination of them as far as their wealth and their business strategy, how they conduct themselves and how their brands have, like everywhere you go, you can't talk about business and not mention Warren Buffett. Like that is what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily have to take their path, but the brand awareness, right, and the credibility is what I'm trusting God to do in His own perfect time for me. So I totally agree with where you're coming from, woman to woman.
Yeah.
I do. Back to the business side of things. Can you share any tips for launching a successful lash and beauty business? Like, what are you telling your students for those that are tuning in, listening?
Yeah. So I would say best advice I give is make your brand something that you are proud of. And make use of the free avenues that you have to market, meaning social media. Social media has been great. Facebook, Instagram. You have a lot of conversation with your followers. You can have a lot of conversation with your followers using those social media avenues, in which once upon a time ago, you felt like you needed a Google and, things like that in order to really advertise. Social media is great now because it really gives you an idea of who's tuning into you and what they look like and what they like. But then also from a brand standpoint, one of the things that I made it a point to do was I made sure my branding was on target. And this is probably the marketing side of me. But people tend to pay a great amount of attention to your brand, how you market yourself. So what I tell people is, especially if you are in the beauty business, you are the first thing that people see. No matter what your brand is. If you do hair, girl, you may not think that your hair needs to look, decent, but it probably does. If you do makeup, then, and not to say that you have to walk around with a beat face, but remember that you are your brand. I've had a lot more conversation, especially being in a place in which I did not know people because of what I look like. And it literally, and of course, it's like the other question you asked me, it's like, I don't always want to be known for that, but for the nature of my brand, my selling point was I do my own lashes. People tend to like, it's crazy because I've had other lash artists say to me, oh my gosh, that's the one thing I can't do. So that automatically gave me a competitive advantage, because even when it comes down to the exchange of services, I was the one that I didn't need anybody per se. Like, they would ask me to service them and they're like, can we exchange services? I was like, well, just to be honest, I do my own lashes. I'm happy to service you. And, I can give you a discounted price, but I do my own lashes, and so always remember that no matter where you go, you're representing your brand. And how much people are willing to trust your brand, how much they're willing to spend and invest in your brand, because every single time a client comes to me, they're making an investment, not just in themselves, but in my brand. All of that matters. The little details, like for every picture that I post, it has like Graceful Lashes by Amara. Just like literally from every single avenue that I can, I try my absolute best to have a conversation from a client standpoint, because I'm a client as well. I go to other service providers and I've always put myself in their shoes to say, well, what exactly if I was going to pay this amount of money, what exactly would I be looking for? What am I hoping to get from this? And it's like always making sure you give just a little bit more, so for every interaction that I have, I always give just a little bit more that's added to the service. And every single time a client I have an interaction, it's like they don't owe me anything. Nobody shows up to your business, or nobody invests in your business because they owe you something. They choose you every single time. It's just like in marriage. You choose your spouse every single day that you choose to stay with them. It's the same thing with yes, girl. It's the same thing with the client. And when you approach it like that, the conversations that you have on social media become a little bit different. It's like, asking ladies, what exactly are you looking for? Or this is who I am. This is how I got into my industry. How can I really be of great service to you? And having those kinds of conversations, it changes the perspective for them and for you. They understand that you're a person and they treat you as such. But when you present yourself as a brand that is not just, not shoddy in a sense, like it's half pictures, like making sure your pictures look good, making sure your wording, like you need to sound like you can have a conversation, the missing R's and the difference in between there, like that location and theirs, that's different. Those things matter to people because you grab, like the kind of clients that gravitate to you now are very, very different. And so I tell people that it's like, you have to be mindful of your niche. You have to know who your client base is, and you have to meet them there, but you have to beat them there. Like, you have to approach it from that standpoint in which every single interaction is professional. Do not half show up. Make sure you beat, like, make sure you are the best at every single angle you can be. Because when other lash checks, when other beauty, just women who are amazing, who look at the brand, like when they look at my brand in the industry, they're just like, wow, I marvel at how you're able to do all of that. And I tell them, it's like, yo, even when I'm not working, I'm working, because at the end of the day, I have no choice. My brand has to be something that stands out. And it's just keeping that in mind. It's like, don't half do it. Like, give your client and represent your brand to the best of the ability, and make use of social media, have the conversations. And even if you're not working, still work. Still, I used to practice on a mannequin. And I would show my clients that if you're not coming, guess what? Amara's still working. She's practicing on a mannequin so that I can be at my best for you. Those things matter. Like, you think people are not paying attention, but my nail tech has never gotten serviced by me, but she knows what I'm posting. She's watching. And it's crazy because, again, it's like, depending upon how you show up for your business, people who you don't even recognize are watching. They're always watching. And that little business, I've seen a post, like a meme that's talking about that little business that your family, like, oh, we'll support your little business, or that little business over there. That little business is literally what somebody makes coming out of college. It's like, don't, the way that you approach your brand and the professionalism that you have behind your brand is really what your brand, like that point that your brand can get to. And if you're not going to show up, then they're not going to show up either. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay. It did. It definitely answered the question. It was great tips, and it's the truth. Like, I was a part of a program. I was tuning in some lives. An amazing woman. I believe her club is called the F500 Experience. Okay. I think her name is Kendra Lewis. And she has done a lot of amazing work in corporate America. Some of the biggest brand strategies, marketing strategies came from Kendra Lewis. And she has her own business, and she trains people having the mindset, like stop saying that you are a small business owner. She said you need to really have a mindset of a corporation. That's the mistake of many people, that we constantly saying I'm a small business owner, because of all of that. And that just that shift in my mindset, I was like, she's right, because the work that we're doing is beyond small business, and the visions that you have, your visions, your plans, your strategic goals, and your vision 2-5 years out is not of a small business. So why are we referring to it as such? Yes, on paper I get it, legally I get it, that is what it is on paper, but I mean, your mindset, you have to have a mindset of, okay, I'm building a corporation, I'm building a conglomerate, I have all these businesses that that I'm going to house with underneath in my hub, changing your vernacular, changing the trajectory of how you see your business. It really, you have no other choice but to level up because of your business. So I agree with that 100%. A great tip that you shared. Also, just 2 more questions and I'll let you go. What is your 2 to 5 year plan for your personal and professional life?
Tiffany, I wasn't ready.
That's a lie.
Girl, what? No, I've been thinking about that. My 2 to 5 year plan. Oh my gosh, girl, I'm trying to wrap my head around 2021. 2020 didn't, it counted, but it sort of threw us off a little bit. Wow. That's hard. I'll be honest. That's a hard one. I'm going to be honest on that one. I know a lot of people will say, girl, I got this whole plan. Tiffany, I'll honestly say that life has, you make a plan and God is just like, that's not how that one goes. So I will honestly say that I'm unsure of that. I can say that I've been through some life changes and I'm like, God, my life looks so different than what it is I anticipated, but God. So I'm in such a different place and it's crazy because I would have never foresaw myself in Virginia. I would have never foresaw myself owning a business. Like you said, changing the vernacular, like it's not a small business. It literally is a business that empowers women that I don't even know yet. So all that said, I've been a lot more business planning and my thought, even with creating a webpage. And last year I had my first women's empowerment brunch and it was very small because of COVID. And I had this whole great plan. And it was crazy because I had always thought about women's empowerment from one aspect and I didn't think about it from another. And as of late, God and I have been having some very interesting conversations where, as you said, it's not just about, it's not a small, you got to change that whole vernacular, like that mindset. And so we've been brainstorming, God and I, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty dope. So I've been having different conversations with my accountant, different conversations with my family, just how do I do all of this now? How do I get here? I've even been thinking about mentorship. God, I need a different kind of mentor. I need someone who understands how to maneuver through life, marriage, managing a business, not just any business, but literally a whole empire, because I'm thinking Oprah scale. And it takes a certain kind of person. Yeah, you got to figure out how your circle begins to change. So when I tell you, from all honesty speaking, I had a plan and God was like, yeah, let's throw that out the door because you're not thinking big enough. I literally had to, that's why I've been fasting. I was telling you, I know we shouldn't, I know fasting's private, but I started this year spending a lot more time with God because I recognized that I had put him in a box, just as I don't like people putting me in a box. And we've been having different kind of conversations. And so I'm still trying to figure that out because what I had, God scrapped that. And now I'm in a different place and I'm like, wow, okay, God, how do we maneuver through this stage? So I'm still trying to map that out. But what I can say is I've started that process through writing out a vision for my women's empowerment group. It's called Embodying Grace, Empowering You. So Embodying Grace, Empowering You. And that will be a segment or just sort of, it's going to be under my conglomerate. There's graceful lashes and beauty because beauty is not just lashes now, but we're also focusing on beauty in different ways and empowering women through that. But I also want to start a nonprofit aspect where I really am becoming more of an advocate in my community. What does that look like, God? How do you use me, God? It's a different kind of conversation. So all that said, I'm looking at different avenues for things and God is putting it together. But my God, Tiff, life looks so different. I would be lying if I said I had a whole plan because every single time I say something, God is like, and then bigger. So right now I'm sort of at God's beck and call, but he's slowly putting the pieces together and I know it's going to be dope. 2 years from now, when we have our interview, I'm like, yes, Tiff, let me interview you, boo. Like, it's gonna be amazing. Um, like it's gonna be amazing. But yeah, there's no plan. Literally, God is at that forefront, and I'm like, God, I feel uncomfortable. I normally have a big plan, and I have that type A personality. But God, it's a different season now, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. Being okay, uncomfortable, but trusting God through it is that is the plan. That's a plan in itself. If you could be uncomfortable and trust God, in the dark, to lead
Yep.
guide you, and you trying to touch and feel in the room so you don't fall asleep, but
Yep.
really, like it's another place of, supernatural faith. Not to go into that deep end for those who,
Yes.
like, we know what,
Yep.
in the place of, like you really have to have crazy faith. You have to have
Yeah.
crazy, patience and grit and grace and tenacity and audacity. Like just be bold and be like, you know what? I don't see the end of this thing. I don't have all the pieces to the puzzle, but I know what you gave me. I know, what the vision is. I don't know how I'm going to get there,
Yeah.
but you told me this, so I'm just going to run with it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking to for those who, who may not identify with what we're, spiritually or faithfully what we're referring to. But just having that tenacity, that boldness, like, okay, this is what this came to me.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Sometimes it's so crazy to the point where it will be a vision where it's something that you've never known, something you've never done. It's not your professional background. It's not what you went to school for, but this vision came to you. So that's what we're kind of talking about, and just running with it and trusting and just saying, you know what, I'm not going to put. I think one time I told someone I don't really have a plan per se written out, but sometimes I'm like, I have outlines, because why I like to say outlines is because I could always erase that. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. That's true.
Outline is like a draft. So I'm like, I don't have a hard plan.
Uh-huh.
It can be edited, it can be changed, it could be totally scrapped.
Yep.
But I have some outlines, of what I would like to see.
Yep.
I normally say it like that. So, to all of you out there, don't get discouraged if, what you thought it would have been or should have been, and it's just totally went through the window. Something greater and bigger is coming, and you're going to be prepared for it. As long as you be patient and wait, and stay focused, it's going to come to you. It's all going to tie together and make sense to you in the end. So before you go, what special offers or services or anything like that you have going on in your business that you want to share with the audience right now?
Ooh, special offers. So I rolled out a new type of lash, mega lashes, mega volume lashes. They're super full. They're fabulous. I've actually also started focusing a bit more on like the self-care aspect of it. So I have a friend who does, she does amazing like body oils and such. And one of the things that I've noticed with my clients is with COVID, a lot of people have taken time off from getting lashes done. And what I would normally do is say, here are some brands, that I for products I recommend that you can use just to strengthen your lashes, strengthen your brows, just to take better care of your natural self. And I was like, hey, wait, so why am I recommending something to them when I can do that myself? So I actually created a lash growth and lash brow serum that, yes, girl. So tried, tested, and true. So again, it's as if like you're having this conversation with God, and He's like, dude, like you're doing all these, hey, stop selling yourself short. So I've been focusing a lot more on that with my clients, and it's crazy because you don't even realize like your clients, they trust you so much. It's like, girl, whatever you got, just tell me the price, I'll buy it. And I'm like, what? How did we get here? So that's something new that I'm rolling out. As far as specials and such, I mean, for anyone who's in the Virginia area, if you are watching this, if you are in Northern Virginia and you're watching this, let me know. Shoot me a text message. I believe Tiffany has my Instagram on here, I_am Grace, gracefulashes.asme. That literally is my website. If you shoot me a message and say, hey, I'm watching, I would do your lashes for free. That is my gift to you.
Oh,
I know. Look, I'm telling you, like, I tell people all the time, it's so dangerous because I love lashes so much that I literally would do it for free. But God is like, you got to, there are a lot of products that you pay for, so you have to be really mindful.
Come knocking at your door.
I know. No, but it's something I'm so grateful, Tiffany. I will say this, I know we're short on time. I will say that I'm so grateful for the opportunity for you to share with me. And for anyone in your audience, again, and Tiffany, if you happen to visit this area, because I don't think we're that far apart. Seriously, it's the gift that keeps on giving, but it is my way of giving back to women and saying, you are so beautiful as you are, but your eyes, there's just something to it. And people are just drawn, lashes, it's, there's a phrase that we use, but I got to be mindful of how I say that on this platform. But what I will say is that it enhances beauty. And especially because we're all wearing masks now, I don't walk around looking like this all the time, because once you put that mask on, half your makeup is gone anyway.
Yes.
But the one thing that people tend to notice is your eyes, your lashes. So if there's anyone watching, if you are in Northern Virginia area and you tag me, if you just go onto my site, send me a message, something, I got you for free. And all you can do is say, thank you, Tiffany. And Tiff, if you are in my area, holla, I got you, though.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready for the whole It's been great. It's a joy. You are different. And sister, to me, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Just finally see you bringing it all together, because I've been on your nerves for the last 2 years. Girl, what are you doing? What
are you doing? This is amazing.
So I'm just grateful to have you. It's been an honor. Thank you once again for your transparency, for keeping it real, dropping the gems, the wisdom like you always do. I just love you so much, and I'm proud of you. Keep doing you, and definitely going to bring you back on the show once you roll out more of your products and services that you have on. So thank you, and we're going to take a quick break. John? Okay, family, we're back. I'm going to quickly wrap it up. That was such an awesome interview. I enjoyed my sister so much. She is amazing. We are definitely going to have her back on the show. For me, hands down, thus far, she was the best interview. Y'all let me know how you feel, but that was the best interview. No, for real. The questions, she was just on point. That she was on point with it, y'all. Come on now. She dropped some gems. She shared some wisdom, and she kept it real. And we love her for that. Once again, I want you guys to tune in tomorrow. We're doing things a little different. We have an early interview tomorrow. It will be 12 p.m. Eastern time to about 12:30, 1 p.m. So it's lunchtime. So everyone, grab your lunch and join us tomorrow for tomorrow's show. It's an amazing person. We have Miss Yetunde Shorters tomorrow. She is amazing, amazing professional. She has, she's done books, she's done coaching with executives, people in the media, all of that good stuff. So I'll get into her bio tomorrow. I don't want to share too much about her, but trust me, you want to tune in tomorrow. There's a reason why her interview is so special, and it is during lunchtime. okay, because she's a very busy woman, so we had to just squeeze her in whatever we could. We did not want you guys to miss out on her, so please definitely tune in tomorrow 12 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, I am Tiffany F. Young, your video content strategist, your web series show producer, and your virtual and hybrid event producer. If you are looking to get anything done on the virtual side of things, looking for a virtual assistant, things of that nature, I am your girl. I'm your virtual plug. If I can't do it, I have the resources. I know the people. I have the connections. I promise you that. If you want to be on the show as well, please inbox me. Leave also your comments and questions and feedback so we can continue to improve the show, cover topics that you would like to see. Everything that we do is about the work from home professional, as well as, the online creators, the digital creators, things of that nature. So if you would like to be on the show, please hit me up, inbox me on Facebook, DM me on Instagram. I will leave my information in the comment section after the live is done. And I need to go and grab some food and spend some time with my family. And I hope that you would do the same. Love you all. Good night.